I personally been in this field for 30 years. I learn something new every day. If I don't learn something every day, I go home and I think, oh, that was a boring day. But in our field, the challenges are so big and so many, you got to learn something every day. Is it software? Is it people? Is it client? Is it project related? Whatever.
Yeah.
No, you go home and you feel good about yourself.
3, 2, 1, 0.
Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Engineering Buzzcast. My name is Jacob Primus and I'm joining you today with my good mate and co-host, Daniel Hardy. So today's episode is one that is pretty inspiring. We were invited around to the SMEC office in the Gold Coast to have a little bit of a sticky beak, but to mainly have a conversation with Peter Vilic. Now, Peter, he is a technical principal in the road planning and design sector at SMEC, which means that he's responsible for applying professional knowledge and judgment, or his own personal judgment, on complex transport-related engineering projects, and just working out that balance of feasibility that is required to achieve proper and maintained project performance. Personally, I found something to be really interesting was his background. His personal background we found was something really to be admired.
Yeah, it was really interesting hearing how he travelled across Europe as an archaeologist before he got into the line of work he is now as a technical principal and in the the roads and transport department, especially at SMEC. Really interesting how the leaps he took to get from where he was to where he is today.
Yeah, definitely 100%. So Peter's been actually in this industry for over 30 years in multiple management and advisory roles throughout the civil engineering and transport sector. So he's definitely seen a lot of change over the years, a lot of new technologies come and go, a lot of big projects come and go. So he's definitely a man of experienced wisdom. Throughout his interview, he gave us some absolutely golden advice in terms of what new students should be doing, what they shouldn't be doing, interviewing techniques, and so much more to getting into this industry. So if you're looking at getting into the field of transport engineering, or you simply just want to hear about what it takes to be a leader in the engineering sector, then this is the episode that your ears have definitely been waiting for. So sit back and enjoy the episode.
Yeah, I hope you enjoy, guys.
Yeah, Peter, welcome to the Engineering Buzzcast. Thanks for coming on today. So, Peter, give us a quick little bit of rundown of what you're doing at the moment and some of the work that you do and the projects that you're working on with your team at the moment, your team of engineers. So just give us a little bit of a rundown just about that.
Thank you, Jacob. Thank you, Dan. Yeah, well, I've been with SMEC now for almost 11 years. I've been in different roles in the last 11 years. Obviously, came here as a technical principal, then dwelled into the space of management for a number of years, managing the roads and highways team, managing the Gold Coast office of SMEC, and then I've come back now to my substantive role, which is the technical principal role for the last 2 years. What does that entail? I'm basically, reviewing, helping, advising, guiding design of our projects in the planning space, in the preliminary design space, and in the detailed design space. I also, delve in the area of the road safety audits and safe systems, which is something new into the industry. Safe systems is basically based on the government policies to have zero death by 2031.
Okay.
And and just implementing the 4 pillars of the safe systems, which is safer roads, safer vehicles, safer cars, and safer drivers.
Right. Okay. Yeah. When was that introduced? Because you said it was pretty recent.
It's down in Victoria and in New South Wales. They've been probably going through this part for the last maybe 4 or 5 years.
Okay.
Queensland, maybe the last 2 years.
Right.
Department of Transport and Main Roads are driving hard now, probably since 2019. 2018. They came up with a safety policy, and there is a need on most of our projects now to do the safe system assessment.
Okay. Yeah.
Which is based on Austroads guidelines.
Right.
Victoria have got their own guidelines, but up here we're using the Austroads guidelines of safe system.
Okay. Yeah. What role would engineers typically play in those larger projects and things like that?
You mean in the safe system?
Safe system.
Yeah. It's basically a major awareness those 4 pillars.
Okay.
And number one, I suppose, for us here within SMEC is designing a safer roads and the safe road furniture and the safe road environment.
Okay.
We don't really go much into the safe vehicles or the safe driver behavior as such, but we just basically just stick with the safer roads approach. Safer roads starts from it can start from the planning stage, which is your option analysis business case, and then carries on into the preliminary design, detailed design stages of the project, and includes everything from pavement types, from road widths, lane widths, bike lanes.
I feel like there's a lot that like a lot of people don't know that actually goes into it, like a lot of decision making that no one would ever really think about, like you just mentioned pavements and all that sort of thing. So yeah I feel like it'd be like a really big up and coming field as well, especially with roads and stuff at the moment. I mean, like redoing all of Australia's roads and things like that. Like what other projects and stuff have you guys been working on in the past that have been like involved in that sort of field?
Well, I'm currently I've just finished a safe system review on the Gateway Upgrade North and Bruce Highway project in Brisbane for the TMR Metro.
Okay.
On that project, we are the designer in a joint venture with Jacobs. So one engineer from Jacobs and I did this assessment. We do the report, we do the scoring, and then that goes to the client, which is in this case is TMR, and they then contribute to the findings and the solutions that they propose to just improve the safety of the design project. At the end of the day, safe system and road safety audit, the bottom line lays with the client, which in our case it's TMR or councils.
Okay. Okay. So there's a lot of like hand down procedures from concept to application sort of
Correct.
things. Is that what you're sort of
Yes.
saying? Yeah.
And every different every stage has got a different demands and a different effort to be put in to go into the details of that of each stage of our projects.
Okay.
So, like, what sort of background did you have growing up, and how did that influence where your career took you during your life?
Well, my background probably it was something totally different. I was very when I was in high school days, I was very keen into the arts. And I did a Bachelor of Arts, History of Arts with archaeology back in Europe. And I worked as a archaeologist. I love arts, particularly the medieval, the sort of Middle Age arts and the architecture, particularly churches. I was just obsessed with
Europe's the perfect place for
Europe.
that, isn't
and when I left high school, I left my home country, and I traveled through Western Europe, from Italy to France to Germany, England, Spain, Greece, and at one stage I had in my memory something like over 1,000 churches. Year they were built by the architects, they were built and designed. So that was my passion for a long time. I came here in '86, and this archaeology wasn't as big in say Europe, and I decided to do a career change. And I went to QUT, and the career advisor asked me, what would you like to study? And I said, well, look, I wanted to do a degree or a diploma that will give me a job the very next day I finished my last exam. And she said to me, civil engineering. And that's what I did. I did 2 years diploma course in civil engineering, and I've been now in this field for 30 years.
Wow. So
and
2 years
I can
to 30
just tell
years.
you guys that I haven't looked back.
That's a really good input to output ratio, I guess. Then only putting in that 2 years and then getting that entire career out of it. That's really inspirational.
Actually, how did your archaeology translate into civil engineering? How much of that was able to went across that you were able to use?
Look, I believe in multiskilling, just building yourself up. And different field in life and in science gives you that those sort of skill set that you're going to use one day in different roles. Makes you probably wiser.
Definitely.
In a way that you are looking things from a different, perspective, not just basically, just follow science and just, follow the standards, guidelines, and that's it. You start to look things from a different perspective. And what helped me really personally was once you become a manager and you're working with people and through people, you need to come up from a different angle. The most difficult part of our industry is people management, and not just in our industry, but in all others probably. People management, particularly, lately with COVID and not being, one-to-one. You have to call. You have to do the Skype calls, team calls, Zoom calls. It's much more, much more so difficult because we don't have that personal just a relationship and the personal face-to-face
Definitely
discussions and support.
Even just networking and stuff like that, it's so hard because when you're face-to-face with that person, you can just talk about a lot more things compared to online and stuff, and you can like physically speak to that person and like
read
do
emotions
things
better. Everything's just
So
it definitely is.
Being able to just change topics and change subjects makes it more fun and I suppose more so engaging.
Definitely. I feel like there's going to be like a really big gap in the future with that, because there's going to be like a whole generation of a period of say 3 to 4 or 5 years that are not going to have those abilities, like you said, to be able to just go up to someone and just talk to them and that sort of thing, and getting those social perspectives to be able to manage a team of people and that sort of thing.
It definitely takes practice. It's not something you can just do. You need to really build up confidence, and I think that's just
if I go back to the management skill set, it's something that is hard to learn. Some people are born leaders. They've got that skill from very early in their lives, and they lead and they manage. And some of us learn how to lead and how to manage. I think it's just one of those different people have
you either get it or you don't get it sort of thing.
Right.
It's
all strengths.
Definitely. So you grew up in that Western European area of archaeology and that interest in civil engineering. Like, how did so you did did the associate's degree? Where did you go from there? From then on, so you had the associate's degree in civil engineering. What was there a specific company you worked for, or like a project you worked on that engaged you more in that?
I have worked in my career for the public sector, which is councils and number of council in the southeast Queensland, and also for TMR South Coast region, which is down here in the Rang. I have worked for a number of consultancies in Brisbane and the Gold Coast. It's good to have that wide experience because it's nice to know the client's needs, what they want from their projects, how they want them done, and why they want them done. But then also from the consulting point of view is how do you do the project? How do you manage the project delivery, the quality, the milestones, deadlines?
Just a big balancing act, really.
Exactly.
Just being able to juggle all those things at once and then end up with a final project. That's really inspirational to be able to do something like that. And I think, just like you said, you either get it or you sort of don't, and there's sort of people that crack under that sort of pressure, and then there's people that can put up with that sort of pressure. So that's really interesting.
And if I can add to that, I suppose comment is that don't allow yourself to be to be pigeonholed. Try to just explore different fields, different areas in our industry. A lot of people leave uni, they get into the design office, and they stay there all their career. The best thing, in my opinion, is to just explore the construction field, get out on site, go and learn firsthand how things are built. Then come in the office and do the design. Follow standards, guidelines. The top designer, if you can't visualize what you're designing, that's the bottom line. And to do that, you need to go on site and just experience firsthand and see. Underground, join it,
I think it's just recognizing all those steps to get to to that point of implementing it. You
Yeah.
got to recognize and respect that there's all these different steps to get there. It's not just it's done sort of thing. So
And patience. Patience and hard work. Nobody has achieved anything in a big hurry or in a very short time frame. It takes few years to master your discipline, to get your skill sets, to become multi-skilled, and to learn from your mistakes.
Yeah. So what would you recommend for students who are trying to get into the engineering industry at the moment, or people that are in the engineering industry to continue on that path? You mentioned discipline and just being along yourself, like your own personal goals. What else would you recommend for people?
Once again, I would just like to say that we should all strive to just explore our industry, because it's such a large field.
Yeah,
It is.
From now, solar energy to the roads and highways business, how to build roads, how to design payments, how to construct. Multiskilling is the answer to your success. There is a shortage of multiskilled engineers, technicians, and drafters in our industry. There is a shortage of new young engineers, senior engineers.
Has it always been like that? Do you feel like
no?
Or is it just like a recent sort of thing that's starting to occur?
If I can give you as an example, in the last 2 years, since probably mid-2019, 72,000 senior engineers have left the industry.
Wow.
In this country.
That is a lot.
72,000
Senior
was that just like a
senior
voluntary sort of thing, or was it just like
most of them have retired.
Yeah.
People of my age, most of them have just moved on and do something else. Most of them have probably come to a point where they have thought, I've done this for a long time. I need to try something else before I retire. And there is a major shortage in the senior space at the moment. There is a major shortage in the designer space. Civil designers, civil design engineers that are on the tools like 12D, AutoCAD, MicroStation, all this software that we are using in our field. You can't get enough of them.
Yeah, right.
Basically.
Wow.
That's hard to wrap your head around. 72,000 people. That's wow.
So, and the good news for you guys is that the industry is ramping up. COVID has brought a lot of funding from all levels of governments. The money is there for the infrastructure to be spent. But before they do that, things need to be planned, designed, and then constructed. So the shortage in resource will be to your advantage, because these opportunities are there.
Especially to the Olympic Games coming up in Brisbane in the next few years.
Oh yeah,
that's going to just
The
explode
South
everything.
Queensland with the fast rail projects, with the second M1, which is going to be the Kumara Connector project from the Gold Coast to Logan. The light rail stage 3 and 4.
Yeah, I've heard of that.
The heavy rail down to the border. There are massive projects that will need a lot of people to work on.
I feel like especially in Australia too, there's so much to improve. Like
SMAC Victoria, if I can give you an example, we're successful. We just won a Northeast Link down in Melbourne, which is a 6K of tunnel project. We are in joint venture with Mid-Post McDonald, and a consortium of tunnel companies from China to Korea, Spain. It's a $25 billion project. It needs 1,000 engineers to work on for the next 5 years.
wow.
Whoa.
And
So-
you just had how many walk out, and then now how many do you need?
70,000 in 1 year left in the
Yeah.
industry. Senior engineers specifically, though.
Yeah,
that's the big part.
That's the big part of it,
So
especially
opens
because
the doors for you guys. Finish your studies, start applying for jobs right now. Don't wait for when you do your last exam like I did. You can get a job now as undergraduates and get that sort of experience firsthand. And see where do you fit in. What's your passion.
Yeah, that's very, very true. Just finding what you like as well. I feel like I mentioned earlier, there's going to be a big gap between people who have theoretical knowledge and physical knowledge. Like being able to hands-on apply that, because we've just learned it all online, like lectures and things like that, and it's a whole different story when you get out there in the field. I'm sure you've recognized that as well, and you've seen that happen with a lot of junior engineers. So Yeah.
Did you always do transport sort of engineering when you first started, or did you also go into sort of structural and geotechnical and dance around a little bit?
No, all I've done all my career is just transport engineering.
Yeah, okay,
A bit of traffic engineering, but basically that's my path.
That's your thing.
Yeah.
There would have been like a lot of big developments in your time, especially in transport engineering. What have been like some of the biggest projects that you've seen in transport engineering transpire?
Oh, look, I've been now 28 years on the Gold Coast, and most of the roads that you drive daily, they got my name on them in some role.
That's awesome.
I either designed them, or I was part of the construction teams, or the planning teams. But probably 80% of our that's what I see. So.
That's insane.
You think after 30 years in this field, you just think to yourself, oh, well, the city, the way it all operates, it's thanks to me, thanks to you.
It's a pretty good feeling.
Yeah, how does that feel? Like driving down the road every day and being
you always see your mistakes.
I made this.
Yeah. I could have done this better, or I could have done that better.
Yeah.
Sometimes, luckily, we have a chance to go and just fix things.
Yeah.
Maybe 10 years after or 15 years after, when you need a new pavement or a new curbs or a new whatever, or a new bridge after 50 years. Like we just finished Sandell Bridge
really?
project. That's what that was for the City of Gold Coast Council. That bridge, if you guys know, it was a 4-lane bridge with a footpath built in 1964, and the design at the time had to follow different standards and different guidelines. So what we had to do, we had to make sure that the bridge, so we had to turn the 4-lane bridge into 5-lane bridge without doing the substructure. So we just, and not much of the superstructure either. So we just have to change the rail and check that the bridge superstructure complies to the current standards, to the AS 1600.
Okay.
And that was difficult because obviously in 50, 60 years, things have changed. The loads have changed.
Yeah, definitely.
The live loads have probably, tripled.
Yeah.
In those days, probably it was designed for a semi-truck. These days, we are designing for prime movers that can carry tank on top of them.
That's
the current standard.
Yeah.
So that was challenging, but it gives you the satisfaction that with a good team you can overcome those challenges and come up something for the city that is value adding, without going and just destroy the old bridge. We kept the old bridge. We get another 50 years life to it with some smart engineering.
Yeah.
I think it's the most satisfying thing about engineering. It's why people enter it a lot, is because it's such a broad topic that impacts a lot of people. That's the thing. And engineering is one of those, I feel like, fields of areas of work that impact like the largest amount of people. Especially
unknowingly
with roads. Like how many thousands of people go over that road every day or that bridge every day? So,
take it for granted. Really not understand how much actual effort goes into it. Not just like physical effort, but like mental effort to make these things happen. It's crazy.
Yeah. So that's what I want to ask as well, because you've been in this field for such a long time. What are some of the things that are buzzing in your line of work? Because this is the engineering buzzcast, so it's about things that are buzzing in your line of work. So what are the things that you've seen, even just the past 10 years, say, be the biggest change in your time in engineering? Like, what's something that you guys are having to adapt to or having to change?
Yeah, look, probably for me personally, the biggest change is this development of the digital engineering and GIS. More and more, we're going to end up probably very soon with a paperless way of producing designs. I'm used to the old A1 paper sheets where it was all on the paper or the old tracing paper. You go on site and the wind blows and the paper's blown away,
or it rains, and then you're like,
And then we got probably in the late 90s on a A3 size paper, which was great because it's much smaller and you can easily just use it on site. These days, you got your iPads, you got your small laptops,
tablets,
and it's all there. The BIM has been a big mover and a big shaker for the clients, particularly because all their assets are now managed through BIM system from your from your concept design through the detail design and then for the maintenance of this asset. And it just in the click of a pen.
Yeah, it's great.
One of my earlier jobs in Brisbane was to transfer 1900s maps that were in inches and links and chains that Brisbane had built in the, 1890 something, 1905. So that was our first challenge to digitize all the water mains and the sewer mains in the old Brisbane area. And that was used. That is used now by the fire brigades. They wanna if they have a fire, they know exactly where the all hydrants are, where they can plug in and get the water to fight the fire. Before they had to go and try to find paper plans if they got any.
You gotta go request it.
2 hours to get a plan. Now it's within seconds. So
that's awesome.
That sort of digital space, it just grown so big and it's so innovative that is just amazing to watch how the whole industry is changing almost daily.
And it would help so many more people just because of that. Just that one minor thing would mean that fires can be put out way faster. There's just so many. That's awesome.
Everything. I mean, you have a burst main, for example, or someone goes and puts a shovel in the ground and cuts your, NBN cable that goes from Brisbane to Sydney. You know exactly where the missing link is within seconds.
And I feel like with some of the new like soil scanning machines and stuff like that, it's insane to be able to just look through the ground like an X-ray machine almost and just be like, oh yeah, you can see that there and see that there. Have you guys used any of that equipment before?
We use surveyors. And they use GPR. It's called GPR. Ground penetrating. They're also using lately drones. It's probably something that is been happening for the last 2 years and taken like a wildfire. Drones for everything basically. You can scan the whole bridge that we did on Sundale, and you can get a mesh model of the old bridge structure.
I've seen that, and they have like LiDAR radars and stuff on them. And they just go around.
It's so crazy how fast things are advancing.
And it's cheap. And it's accessible, and that's
the thing. You can just go to JB Hi-Fi and go and grab yourself a drone, and then just go and like make your own system for it. And in your own backyard, you've got those.
You just need to know what you're doing.
Systems.
Exactly. That's all, and just have the right software for it. But I think the training that the industry provides to young people like yourselves is just fantastic, because you can turn in different channels through university, through TAFE, through online courses, and just learn how to operate a drone, how to do the scan, how to do the LiDAR, how to whatever else you want to do.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's really interesting.
Yeah,
I didn't realize how much they actually did use drones for this sort of stuff. Like it totally makes sense. I mean, it's easily accessible, and you can just scan things from a distance. But
I was involved in 2017, I think, when we had the last cyclone up at Lamington. We had a slips, and we have a geotech team here that does that work. They flew the drones almost 2 days later, and they surveyed the whole area because we couldn't get up there.
Of course.
It was all blocked by
was that the one with Binnaburra Lodge on that road?
That was Binnaburra Lodge was due to the bushfires in 2019.
Okay,
but it was similar. When the bushfire went through, burned all the trees, and the rock got loose and just started falling down the cliff and blocked the road. So we flew drones then to within 24 hours we had the whole survey site, so we can start on the job ASAP.
Wow, that's so cool. Yeah, definitely sounds like there's a lot of opportunity in that specifically.
Well, it would have been a big leap from when you used to work, or the line that you're still working all those years ago. Not being able to do that, and those sort of how did you guys do all those sort of things back then that you can do now? Like the same techniques, but made old, if that sort of makes sense, you know? So like, how would you do that back then?
Well, look, probably the biggest change that I've seen is in the surveying from the old, total lights that they used to have and that we all done, prep work for, uni subject in 6 weeks or so. They used to go out and then you had to have a chain man and another support crew, and used to take days and days and weeks to survey a site of say 5 to 10K road extents. These days probably takes 2 to 3 days to pick up all the stuff that you can see. The underground stuff as well is much quicker because of GPR,
ground penetrating radar,
drones, and all of that. It's much easier to get that information and then start designing. So it's saving time and obviously cost for the clients, which is the main objective, I suppose. Why all these major changes are happening? It's all about cost savings.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
and technology is the main vehicle for that.
Yeah, no, it definitely is. Yeah. Also, that comes down to feasibility, I guess. I mean, that's what engineering is as a whole, isn't it? Just seeing if something's feasible to do it or not. So,
Absolutely.
Yeah. No, that's really, really interesting. So we talked a bit about how you got into engineering, you did your associate's degree and that sort of thing. During that time, so that jump from your associate's degree to going into your line of work and go those past 30 years that you've been doing civil engineering for, what would you say has been your biggest hurdle personally for yourself in that developing field? So it could just be like a personal hurdle or something that you've come across that you've gone, okay, I need to readapt to this situation, or something along those lines.
The start was hard because I was a mature age student. I finished uni when I was 35, and I was competing for a job with you young guys. So it was difficult. I had a child and a wife and a mortgage, and I was waiting for this job to come, and luckily I did get it within 2 days after my last exam. I put something like 25 letters to the companies up in Brisbane with my CV and just saying that how good I am, and they say, yeah, great, and then I go for a chat, and they say, oh, you're 35 years old and you're a graduate. However, that didn't hinder me much. Probably was my personal misconception of being a old, if I can say that. But with time, it actually helped me because I was mature and I could probably go for different challenges than just engineering, and that's why I got into management. Managing people and managing projects and managing clients. The clients that I work with now, I suppose, some of the clients are looking for the experience. Project manager, project directors roles. They want to see someone with 15, 20 years plus doing that work. So there's that sort of demand. In our team here to have at least number of senior engineers on every project, and then obviously the young people are coming through. We mentor, we support, and we encourage them to step up and take on bigger roles than they can probably do. So my challenge was at the time to learn software because I wasn't born with iPhone or a laptop.
And I feel like it just came in like a big wave almost. It was like a 10-year gap or so that just rushed in through all this stuff. So.
I have to learn, in those days, Fortran, how to program in the old Fortran language, and I just couldn't get it. It was very challenging. However, with the help of some young colleagues like your age, we got there, and I've learned Fortran, I've learned AutoCAD, I've learned 12D, I've learned all the other packages that we use today, and I think that was probably my biggest challenge was to get over that first first 5 years was hard
adapting.
But if I can advise you guys, one thing is that you've got to put the hard work in. Nothing comes easy. Without hard work, without the effort, without the commitment, you may take longer than someone that will put 100%
Yeah, exactly.
every day.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Like on that, what are some, I guess, main points of advice you'd have specifically for students who are coming into this industry? What's some advice you would give them to encourage them and help them on their path towards?
Probably the best advice that I can give them is to team up with the most senior engineers. Learn from them. Ask questions. Don't be shy. Don't be novel, because there's so much to learn. I personally been in this field for 30 years. I learn something new every day. If I don't learn something every day, I go home and I think, oh, that was a boring day. But in our field, the challenges are so big and so many that you got to learn something every day. Is it software? Is it people? Is it client? Is it project related? Whatever. You go home and you feel good about yourself. So be open, listen more than you talk, and learn, because the challenges will be there every day, all the time, and don't be afraid to ask, because someone out there knows the answer.
There are no stupid questions.
That's right. To be a good engineer is not to know everything, because nobody knows everything. To be a good engineer is a person that knows where to go to get the answer.
That's actually
So that could be a person that you go to ask question. That could be standard guidelines, policies.
Wow. Yeah.
So you need to know how to find your way around that.
Yeah.
And that's the answer to your success. And I think when you go for your first interview, for example, the body language. People see your passion from your body language, the way you talk, the way you just try to sell yourself. You can tell them a story about how good you are and how you want to learn, but if you don't project that in person, so this is just a probably story. You need to be honest, be yourself, and show the drive, show to your new or to your prospective employer that you deserve this job, that you want to earn the job. You've started your company, you know what is SMEC all about, all our history for the last 70 years. You try to learn the name of the people that you're going to see, and talk to, see what they've done, what they're doing, and try to sell yourself the best way that you can, showing that drive and your passion. Why you should get the job, and someone else. And the only the difference is it's not your GPA score. It's you. And it's your passion for what you want to do in the next 10, 20, 30 years.
And just knowing what you're getting yourself into as well, knowing the company that you're going to be working for. I've heard so many stories of my friends who just go up to a company and they'll be like, okay, what's the project that we worked on 5 years ago? Or like, what are we doing at the moment? And they just sit there going, well, I don't know, because they didn't research the company, or they don't know what they're going for. And I think it's that cocky attitude where they just rock up, chuck their resume around the table, and just sit there and then they just answer their questions. So.
It's almost like the flip side of companies who only look at the GPA and put it in the bin. It's almost like the other side of that.
I personally don't ever look at the paperwork. I just put all my effort in talking to the person, see their see their body language, and see what they have to offer to this company or to this office or to me personally. And that's probably the answer to your to your success. Be yourself. Show the drive that you have for the industry that you're in, or you're trying to get in, and the passion that you have.
So would you say that there should be a really good balance between having actual knowledge and then that social knowledge as well? Would you recommend that?
Absolutely. I love to when I see someone comes from from say uni, and they have in their resume worked at McDonald's or KFC. I love people like that, because they've been they're young, they're still young, they're working hard after hours, they're doing uni at the same time. It just shows me that they're driven,
Yeah.
They got the energy, they got the will, they want to succeed.
Mm.
And,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
that's what I'm looking for.
Right.
Personally.
Okay.
So for all you guys who don't have internships yet and are working at fast food, remember that.
Yeah.
That they still look at that. It's not
Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, or even just switching from job to job, I think would be important on a resume, wouldn't it? Not just being stagnant and just sitting in the same job for that long.
But also not obviously just having a few months at like lots of different places. That doesn't look good either. I don't think.
Yeah.
Not too much time.
If you spend some time in a job where you learn skill set. And you come in and you tell me that I can do this, and I ask you, okay, how long did you do that? And you say 2 years. I said, yeah, fair enough, because I know that you learned it in 2 years. But if you tell me that you've been there for 2 weeks,
Yeah.
it's a different story.
Yeah, that's a bit of a like what happened sort of question, So
That's right.
yeah. Okay, yeah.
So on an end note, which STEM or engineering figurehead would you say that you really look up to throughout history? They can be fictional or they can be, historical. But who would you say really, like someone you really look up to, like a scientist or someone? It can be anywhere in STEM.
Look, I'm going to change that from question to how I see things in life, and for me, I don't worship one person. I look up to leaders in a society, in any field, from politics to sports to industry, people that lead teams, that lead projects, that lead countries, that lead societies. That's what inspire me, as I said before. And there are many of them around. There are many good leaders and there are many bad leaders, as we all know. The good ones that are in our industry doesn't necessarily are of my age. I have a lot of young people here in our in our office, like in Brisbane or Townsville or the Sunny Coast, that are starting in their careers, becoming the manager. They show their potential. They show the care, the compassion, the humanity, and the humanity, working with people, because at the end of the day, it's all about working with someone. I think that's what leaders do. They take a team forward, they drive the team forward, and they succeed with the team. And that's in any space of our life. And I think that's people like that just inspire me personally. If you want to talk about big names, there's some great leaders that are full of themselves. There's some leaders that are very humble. Then they have never got material just a benefit out of what they've done. Like I'm born in the same country as Nikola Tesla, for example, and he was, when I was a child, we just learned about Tesla and how poor he was, not about what he achieved in the scientific world. So that's probably one name that I can mention from a very young age that inspired me. He wasn't a leader. He was a different type of person, but he was genius in the field where he was practicing, and didn't ask for much. All he wanted to do is to help the humanity. Is to just help us, and now 80 years later, we are getting all these benefits of what he just visualized 80 odd years ago.
Input into the society, giving back. I think is really inspirational for someone who can do that, and at the same time pursue their own goals and actually succeed at that too. I think that's a big thing. Is it being able to actually succeed and give back is such a it's really inspirational to see someone actually be able to balance those two things out. I reckon.
And then one day you just sit back like me and you said, oh, I've done this for 30 years. And you feel at peace. You have spent 30 years of hard work, and you've done most of the stuff that you had to do, and you've achieved all these things, but you're at peace. And you said, it's a life well spent.
That's ultimately what it's all about.
That's right.
No, it
fulfillment
is.
in what you want, what you're doing.
Yeah, and just enjoying the ride, and then when you get to the final stop, just being like, "That was a good ride." It's sort of like at the end of the roller coaster, and just be like, "That was fun." That sort of thing. So
You'll be going through that too, you know.
Yeah.
You know, life is one big roller coaster.
Yeah, definitely is. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, thanks, Peter, so much for
thanks so much for coming.
spending the time
really
to come.
appreciate it.
To let us come around, visit the SMEC office, and we'll have a look around shortly. So thank you so much for having the time to come out and do that. And I'm sure a lot of people probably got a lot from this. It's going to inspire hopefully a generation, or hopefully just a small group of people, who knows, but whoever gets something out of it, they can do what they please with it, and hopefully they do something good with it. So awesome.
Thank you, Jacob.
Cheers.
Thank you, Dan.
Thank you very much.
Talk to you soon.
Thanks, Peter. And with all that said, if you've enjoyed today's episode, please don't forget to share this with your mates or colleagues who also might benefit from these discussions as well. And if you can, just leave an honest review or rating on your preferred podcast platform. So with all that said, you've been listening to the Engineering Buzzcast with your hosts, Jacob Primus and Daniel Hardy. And until next time, see you in the next episode.
See you in the next episode.
See ya.
The top job is that of the engineer. This requires a great amount of ability and training in mathematics, and you should have some courses in